If you keep doing what you are doing, you'll continue to get the results that you are getting. This is a really powerful statement. And it's a really important lesson which everybody needs to learn. It's quite funny because we hear all these sorts of things about, millionaire routine, or waking up early in the morning, or, I don't know, work ethic of CEOs, and they work 12 hours a day. And people will say things like, well, that wouldn't work for me because the way I like to work is this, or the way I do things is this. Now, there's 2 points on that. The first one, like I said, is if you carry on doing what you're doing, you'll get the results that you keep getting. The second point on that is not only that, but think about it on a deeper level, right? Think about it on a deeper level. You are an advertisement for the mindset that you purport. What I mean by that is people, people only need to look at the way that their life is full stop, to get a gauge of how successful their schedule, their routine, their ideals truly are. The truth is, guys, not all routines are created the same. Not all routines do conduce or create the most conducive work environment or success environment. And you'll have people all the time saying this. I'll say this to people. If you do this, do this, do this, do this, you'll have the results that I have. I'm not saying that you need to do anything crazy. I'm not saying that you need to do anything that I haven't done. One of the easiest things that I recommend to anybody is waking up early, even when it doesn't feel nice. Because it's a real productivity hack, in my opinion. That's why I've got such terrible eye bags today. I mean, I'm making that kind of as a joke, but it's also true. I went to bed late last night. I was doing some more work, right? Because I've got a busy schedule at the minute. I was up still at 8 o'clock, right? Straight out of bed, within 20 minutes, straight onto the computer, right? Make a cup of tea, get onto the computer, get working. Come out here, film some videos. Yes, I am going for a fun drive in the glorious countryside, but I can do 2 in 1. At least instead of just purely wasting time, I'm filming some videos. That might get me some more money, potentially, right? So, if you do the results that you do, you're going to get what you get. Now, people will hear this and they'll say, well, I couldn't do this routine, or this routine doesn't work for me, or I like to do things in this way. As I say, I said that twice, but it really is that stupid. And it sounds obvious, but it really is very stupid, because the way you like to work clearly is not working. And this is how, I'll say arbitrary. I'm very tired, guys, so it's kind of difficult to string my sentences together well. This is how sort of arbitrary it is in the world that we're in today. You have a strict set of ideals to follow. They're very easy to understand. If you follow them, you will win. There's enough information online about work routines. There's enough information online about what time your brain is the most active, what time is the most productive, and why. There's enough information online about all of these things. There's enough information online as to what business to start, when to do it, all of these sorts of different ideas. But people will still champion their ideas like it's going to lead to some success. But the real common sense, self-analytical thing to do is to say, okay, well, if my results are so abysmal, and I say abysmal because most people won't be happy where they are. If you're not happy where you are, then your results aren't good enough. So if my results are inherently bad, why am I continuing on this path? And it does take some insight, self-critique even, to investigate this and to think about this. But it can start with some of the most simple things. Where do I waste time every day? What things are taken away from my productivity? What things do successful people do? How many successful people do them? So let's say, for example, if 9 out of 10 millionaires, I'm just going to use an example, whether it's true or not, it's for hypothetical, right? If 9 out of 10 millionaires woke up at 6 a.m., maybe there's something to that. If 8 out of 10 physically healthy people went for a run every day, maybe that's something to do. But then people will say things like, well, the way I like to lose weight is to just... And how's that going for you, really? Guys, it's so blatantly straightforward, but people just don't have the insight to be analytical enough to actually realize this. I don't know who needs to hear this in a video. I don't know if it even made much sense. You know, it's one of these topics that I've personally been thinking on a lot. Because I have these conversations with people, and people ask me these questions. You know, how did you, build a YouTube channel? How did you build an eBay store? How do you do this? How do you do that? And you'll tell them, and they'll say, yeah, but that couldn't work for me because of this. That couldn't work for me because of that. Well, like I say, guys, in a lot of these measures, the results are actually astonishingly binary. You just have to do this, and do this, and do this, and do this, and the results will be the same as what I have. Maybe with a margin of error. Maybe you might get differences of 10, 20%, but they'll probably be likely very similar. And that's really the message for tonight's video. It's really very simple, but that's all I've got to say. I'd love to hear your personal thoughts and opinions on this one, so do drop me a comment in the comment section. Thank you for your time, guys, and goodbye for now.